Welcome everyone back to the safe space where we're going to talk about domestic violence. And so month is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So if you are not aware of that, you are now because I'm sharing that information with you. So my name is Jackie and I'm actually a certified life coach. So I go by Coach Jackie. And so I'm going to share some great information with you in regards to domestic violence. So if you've been following my channel long enough, then you probably have already watched video 3, which was posted on Tuesday. So if you could go back to, I did a recap on video 3, and I talked about the first 3 videos that I did. So actually, I'm sorry. Tuesday's video was video 4, my apology. But I did a recap on the 3 previous videos that started out the month of October about domestic violence. And so I want you to go ahead and watch those videos. That way you can get caught up, you'll stay looped, you'll know what's going on. And as time goes on with my videos, if you're continuing to watch the videos, you'll see how they're just kind of flowing right on into, from the beginning all the way through and giving you more and more information to kind of help you through your process, okay? And then we're also going to go all the way to the end and we're going to talk about healing. So we're going to go all the way through talking about what domestic violence is, what it isn't, the different forms. We're just going to continue on. So watch the recap because I break it down a little bit more, okay? So today, I'm a little tired, guys, but I'm going to go ahead and go through with this video because I've committed to doing these videos on every Tuesday, every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So with that being said, I'm going to first share with you a stat about domestic violence, and then we're going to go ahead and just jump right on into the video. This is not going to be a long video, so but it is going to be power packed. This is a part 2 actually to the video that we talked about on the 3rd video, which was about patterns of abusive behaviors and looking for the red flags. So today I'm going to actually do the part 2 to that. So it was red flags and patterns of abuse. So that's what we're talking about today. So let me go ahead and give you this stat. Now, this is for the impact on children. So it says children are often affected by domestic violence, with nearly 1 in 4 for intimate partner violence. And then it also says in terms of filed in state courts, in terms of involving children who witness violence. Furthermore, 30 to 60% of intimate partner violence perpetrators also abuse children in the same household. So it is something that is, reoccurring. It's something that's continuing to happen. It's been going on for years and years, decades. Abuse has been going on. And so what I want to kind of share with you guys, like I said, this is a part 4 to the videos that I've been doing before. So if you want to look at video on Tuesday, I did a recap of the first 3 videos where I talked about what domestic violence is, what it isn't. I talked about in terms of the different types of abuse. And then now this is part 2 to red flags and also in terms of the patterns of abusive behavior. So as a survivor, which I am, of domestic violence, I'm going to, kind of share a little bit of what I experienced as far as a survivor of domestic violence. Okay. So let me go ahead. Like I said, I'm feeling a little tired in my spirit. I've been working a lot of overtime. So just kind of bear with me if my energy seems a little low. It really does. And that's probably why, because I'm tired. But I greatly thank you all for joining in. And hopefully something that I'm going to share with you today is going to be very beneficial for you. I would love for you to continue to keep following my channel and, becoming a subscriber if you're not. So that way we can continue on all the way through the remainder of October. And we're also going to take this into December as well. And into November. And we're going to continue to keep talking about domestic violence because during the holidays is one of the most challenging times for survivors of domestic violence. It's very, very challenging in terms of being a survivor, and then also if you're still in that kind of a relationship, then you're dealing with the abuse as well as trying to raise children, right? So it does take a toll on the individual during that time of the year. So just kind of bear with me, stick with me for the remainder of this month. We're going to continue to talk about domestic violence and the great benefit of it. And then also we're going to move forward and continue on into November, okay? Because I've stretched out the videos where it has a lot of content in here, okay? So today, let me just kind of go through for this one. So we're talking about the red flags. And as I shared with you guys in the previous video about red flags, you want to look for, and why do we overlook them? That's what we're going to talk about today. Why do we overlook those red flags that we see in an abusive relationship? And we think like, oh, the person just really cares about me. He or she is calling me all the time. And, we spend so much time together and we're always doing things together. So this has to be a healthy relationship, right? And then as time goes on, then you start to realize that person is jealous, that person is being possessive, that person is isolating you from your friends and family because they want to keep you under their control. And so if you're around your friends and family, if you're able to do the things that you were doing before, then chances are you may get around a family member or a friend that's going to tell you, hey girl, hey guy, she's abusing you or he's abusing you, right? So if they isolate you from those individuals, then the only information that you're getting is from them. Does that make sense? So you want to truly look out for being in a relationship with someone and that person is actually, being aggressive or being possessive with you. That person is controlling and telling you what to wear and what not to wear. Or the person is trying to love bomb you, meaning in the beginning of that relationship, they're doing everything right. They're spending time with you, taking you out, you guys are hanging out together. And then you find out later that this person was grooming you to be in this domestic violence relationship, because then after they feel like they have built up your loyalty, they built the trust between the two of you, you're trusting them and they've isolated you from your friends and family, from your support system. They've isolated you. And it might even be a situation where they tell you, you don't have to work, I'll work. Okay. So then what else have they done? They've isolated you from your friends and family. You're no longer working. Now you're totally dependent on that individual. And then they may also bring to your attention and say, well, hey, why don't you come on and move in with me, right? I'll pay all the bills. You don't have to worry about working. I'll take care of you. And so you move in with this person after a couple weeks of dating this person, right? And you move in with them, or maybe even it could be a month or two, and you move in with this individual. Now they have total control over you, because now you're under their roof, right? Which means you're probably going to feel more obligated to follow the rules or, go along with what the person is saying. If they're saying you can't be in this room or you can't do this, you can't touch this. So you have just opened yourself up for this individual to continue to keep abusing you. And now you've given up your apartment, maybe even given up your home. If they have a home, you moved in with them. You left your freedom when you decide to move in with this person. And it's so early on into this relationship that you really don't know this person. You really didn't get a chance to, see this person in so many different situations, right? To be able to see how this person's temperament is. So because you missed all of that, all of those different red flags, and then you went right into, oh, he's a great guy, oh, she's a great girl, oh, I just love this person, I want to be with this person, not realizing that this person has set you up through a love bombing. Okay. And so this person is now controlling you, and you're in this relationship. They probably are maybe even in the beginning, they're probably even monitoring your phone calls, right? Or constantly calling you, asking you to check in. Hey, I just want to make sure you're okay. You're going over with your friends. I just want to make sure you're okay. Just let me know when you get there. Right. So you're believing all of this because maybe this is something that you've never experienced in a relationship. Maybe it's something that you've wanted to experience, that someone would feel that connected with you and want you to call them, want to know, hey, are you safe? Are you okay? Call me when you get from work. Maybe this is something that you had a desire for. And now you've met this person that's actually doing this. And then now you look at it and you say, wow, okay, so I'm in this relationship and this is what's happening. And I'm okay with it until you realize this person has groomed you into this domestic violence relationship. So now I shared this story before, but I'm going to share it again. So I was in a relationship that I didn't know in the beginning because it was masked so good that this person was a controlling person. But I started to kind of see some things going on, maybe a couple months into the relationship. And I was like, I think this person is, trying to control me. But I was like, no, maybe not. You know how you get that thought and you're like, no, maybe not. It's just, the person is staying connected or want me to stay connected, right? Because he was a truck driver. So he was always on the road. So he wanted me to call him. We talk on the phone for hours at a time. And you know what? That was so great because in the beginning, we were getting to know each other, right? So when you think think about you meeting somebody, you want that connection. You want to spend time with that person. You want to talk to that person on the phone. So as you're on the phone talking to this person, 3, 4, 5 hours at a time, and you're like, wow, we have such great conversation. We got great chemistry. We never run out of things to talk about. He's traveling and we're staying connected. So you think about like, wow, that's a good thing, right? Until you realize that this person is grooming you to be in a domestic violence relationship where he's keeping tabs or she's keeping tabs on you. Everywhere you go, they know. Okay. If you're going to the grocery store, you tell them, hey, I'm going to the grocery store. Okay, well, call me when you get there, right? Or I just want to make sure you made it safe. Or call me when you get home from the grocery store. And then if you go to a different place after the grocery store and you don't call them maybe within, I would say maybe an hour and a half or so, and then they're like, oh, well, what happened? You didn't call me. What's going on? And then you're like, oh, well, I left the grocery store and I went to some other place. Well, why didn't you call me and tell me, right? Then you start to listen, get your antennas going, okay? Then you start to listen and hear that possessiveness or that jealousy that's coming out of that person. It's no longer that this person is looking, or you can look at it and say, this person really cares about me. That's why he or she wants me to call them. If you pay closely attention and listen to the tone of that person's voice and how they say that, then you'll realize, okay, this person is really like checking in on me. Like, I didn't sign up for this. And this is what I was saying. I was in this relationship with this person, but I didn't sign up to be controlled. I didn't sign up for this person to, want to check me everywhere I go or, calling and talking to me on the phone for 4 and 5 hours at a time because he's on the road blocking to make sure that I'm not talking to anyone else. I didn't sign up for that, right? I signed up for me to still be me and have my own separate life, right? And to be a free person to decide if I want to be with this person or if I don't want to be with this person, or if I don't want to talk to this person. Maybe I have, something to do with my children, or maybe I have homework. Maybe I have, work from my job to do. Maybe I have something else to do and I don't want to, or I don't have time to talk to this person. What if I just want to go to the gym? And he wants me to call him every time I go somewhere, right? So look for those clues. They are there. Don't overlook them. A lot of times we do it out of desperation because maybe we've been single for a long time. We really want a relationship and we'll go ahead and go through and just deal with a lot of things that are going on. Sometimes we look at it and we'll say, okay, well, this person is a nice person. I like the way this person look. I like maybe they got a nice car. Maybe they have a nice job. The person got it going on, or, whatever it is that you're seeing on the outer side of that, you have to be careful because when you're looking for these types of people, you don't want to get the same person that you had before, if that makes sense, right? Don't keep the same pattern. If you like a certain type of person and this is who you're attracted to, and you realize when I look back in my life, the same people I've been attracted to, I've had those same issues with. Time to change maybe the kind of people that you're looking at, if that makes sense, right? Who is this? Somebody said, where y'all be finding these type of people? Well, thanks for making that comment, because sometimes you don't even know that you've met that person until you start to see the different behaviors in that individual. And sometimes people will say, I'm strong enough. I'm not going to ever let that happen to me. I'll never be in that kind of a relationship. But I want to share this with you. If you have ever been in a relationship with someone and that person has cheated on you more than once and you've stayed with that individual, or just say if they cheated on you once and you stayed with that person, you've already experienced mental and emotional and psychological abuse. So abuse can happen to anybody. You don't have to be a person that's uneducated. You don't have to be a middle class person. You don't have to be a person that's rich or somebody that's, that's seeking to get money from somebody. You can be an average individual person, just like myself, just like you all that are watching the video today. Anybody can be impacted by domestic violence. So don't think that, say, well, where y'all finding these people at? Like, it's such a mystery, because the people are out there. And if you look back in your relationships that you've had previously, you might find that you might have been in a domestic violence relationship. I would tell you, keep watching my videos. You would be very, very surprised when I talk about the types, what I talked about in video 2. So go back and look at video 2 and look at the different types of abuse that I talked about, how I broke that information down. Anybody can be susceptible to being in a domestic violence relationship. Sometimes we don't even know. If we're looking for it to be physical, if we're looking for it to be verbal, or sexual abuse, if we're looking for that, we're going to overlook the mental, emotional, psychological, the financial abuse, the what is the other one I want to say? The spiritual abuse. We gonna miss all of those because we're looking for somebody to punch us, to hit us, to kick us. We looking for the physical. Don't just look for the physical. I'm a survivor of domestic violence, and I was never hit, but I was in a domestic violence marriage. So I dealt with a lot of the mental, emotional, psychological, financial abuse, the gaslighting, the manipulation. All of that is a part of abuse. So don't dispute and think that nobody that, you're immune abuse, right? That you can't be in an abusive relationship. Like I said, look back, keep following my videos, keep watching my videos to get educated, to learn the information, and to see if you really, at some point in your life, were in a domestic violence relationship, and maybe you didn't know that. It's very possible for that to happen. So let me just share this with you. So what we're talking about as far as the early signs, I've shared great information with you guys about that, about the early signs, all of what I just shared with you. So you want to, keep in your thought process about what else could happen in a domestic violence relationship. What else could I have dealt with in that kind of relationship? It's not like we go out looking for those people. I don't have a stamp on my forehead saying, hey, I want an abusive relationship. No, that's not what we're looking for. But if you're, number one, if you are not healed, if you have not dealt with things from your past, it is very easy for a person to get into a domestic violence relationship and in the beginning not even know that. So trust and believe. I've been doing this now for over 10 years, sharing about domestic violence, about, the different signs, what to look for. I've coached, hundreds of people sharing this information about domestic violence and how important it is to be aware of it. And majority of the time, 99% of the time, people are looking for a physical abuse. They're looking for verbal abuse. They're looking for sexual abuse for them to say, yes, I'm in an abusive relationship. Don't dispute, although don't be ignorant to all of the other forms of abuse. So I would share with you, go and watch my second video because I talk about the different types of abuse and I break it totally down. So that way you'll know it's not just 3 forms of abuse. There's actually 12 of them. So you want to go back and look at those videos, look at the recap that I did on Tuesday, and keep joining in on every Tuesday and Thursday for me to talk and share. I would love to have dialogue. So if you all want to ask me questions, feel free to do that. You can drop it into the feed of the video. At any point in time to ask me any questions that you want in regards to what we're talking about. And let me just kind of recap a little bit. So these videos are October is Domestic Violence Month, okay? So these videos that I'm sharing with you is gonna stretch into November. So I'm taking my time. I'm not rushing through this. I'm gonna keep sharing this information because it's so very, very valuable for us to know about domestic violence and stop looking for the physical. It's not just the physical. You could right now be in a domestic violence relationship and don't know that because you're looking for physical. You don't want to keep doing that. You want to look at the different forms that I've talked about. Look at the different signs that I've shared with you guys in video 2. Okay, I talk about that. And throughout the rest of these videos, I'm going to share bits and pieces of it too. Okay, so please, by all means, stop looking for the physical form of abuse. Abuse has 12 different types of abuse. It's been going around for decades. These forms have not changed. If anything, they're adding more, but they have not changed to say it's not physical. It's not just verbal. It's not just the sexual. It's a total of 12 types of abuse. Please go back and look at video 2. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate, you following me and continuing on so that way you can continue to be educated about domestic violence, okay? So what I've shared with you today, this is part 2, talking about the red flags, what to look for. And one other thing I'm going to share with you, I want you to really pay attention to this. If you're in a relationship with somebody and this person is telling you that the family members don't like them and they're around the family, when outings come up, they don't want to go to family outings. They're going to get to a point where you're going to those outings and they're going to try to sway you. That's another form of isolation and keeping you away from your family. Don't fall for that. If that does happen, You want to start doing your research. You want to start asking those questions. Well, why do you think my family don't like you? What have they done to make you think that they don't like you? And you want to start watching the interactions that you see, because that is going to help you to understand, why are they doing this? They're trying to isolate you from your support system, from your family, from your friends. They're trying to do that by saying, oh, your family don't like me. And then if you believe that, then at some point you're going to say, well, they're going to say, well, I'm not going to go to the family event because your family don't like me. And every time I go, I feel so uncomfortable. Nobody talks to me, or maybe they're being mean or rude to me. They're going to start telling you things like this. I don't want to go around your family. They be tripping. So then it's going to get to the point where you're going to start possibly say, well, if you don't go, I won't go. Because I don't want my family treating you like that. So I'm not going to go. So then you're going to make that decision to say, I'm going to choose you over my family. And I'm not going to go to this event because my family be tripping anyway. They be tripping with me. You might even say something like that, right? That's all that person wants you to do, because now they got you. Because now you're not going to your family get-togethers. You're disconnecting from your family, from your friends, from your support system. I keep using that word support because when you do leave from that domestic violence relationship, your family is going to be looking at you like, okay, well, you didn't want our support, so do you want our support now? Or maybe they're fearful of trying to help you because of the violence that this person is impacting your life with, if that makes sense, okay? So whatever you do, not to say that your family still would help you, but I mean, they may be a little less quick to want to come and support you because they may be fearful of this person. I know that's what happened to me when I was in my domestic violence relationship in my marriage, and I reached out to a relative and I asked, hey, can I come and stay with you? She told me no, that I couldn't come and stay. She's like, nope, I don't want to get into your family. That's you and your husband. You got to work that out. So then once I left from that marriage, and then years later, when we got a divorce, me and the husband got a divorce. And then years later, I reached out to that aunt and I asked her, why did you tell me that I could not come and stay with you? And she told me, she said, I'm just going to be honest with you. I was afraid. She said, I was afraid of your husband because my husband was is an ex-police officer. So she was like, well, I was afraid to try to help you because I didn't want to have any kind of retaliation or anything. So that's why I wanted to stay out of it. So that's why I'm trying to tell you, be mindful of that. Don't allow anybody to isolate you from your friends, your family, that support system. It is so very, very important. And if this is what they're trying to do, and you're still in that relationship and you feel like you don't have an out, you're not sure what to do, I would say still stay in contact with them as much as you can. Even if you have to sneak behind this person, I would still try to stay connected to my family and my support. Don't ever let that person pull you away from your family. And they might even say, well, I got a job in another state and I want you to come with me, right? And if you think about moving with this person, and this is even in the beginning where they haven't even, exercised the physical part, right? They haven't been controlling or anything. They're still love bombing you. So they could even try to get you to move out of the state. Oh, I got some land in another state and I want to build a house. And then you go and you leave with them. And then you've put yourself in a place to where now you're dependent on that person. As I mentioned about it before, moving in with that person, getting rid of your apartment, getting rid of your home, and you move in with this person, moving to another state, moving even up north. Say maybe you're where you are right now, you could be maybe 4 or 5 hours away from where you live now, and you're moving that distance with this person. You're still separating yourself away from your support system, if that makes sense, right? And then also the person might even say, after a couple months into the relationship, or maybe a couple weeks in, hey, I want to marry you. Think about that. Don't just be so quick to jump into a marriage with somebody or jump into moving into living with someone and you just met this person. That could be the person that's trying to rush you into a relationship because they're trying to, as they say, lock you down, right? So that way they can start to control you. So think about the decisions that you're making and make sure that they're the right decision before you just jump into that relationship, okay? You can always reach out to me. You can go to my Facebook page. You can reach out to me by DM there, or on Instagram. You can reach out to me as well there. I don't have enough subscribers on here for me to be able to have you to reach out, to me, unless you're going to put it into the feed of the video, okay? But Limb Pro Wet, that was a great question that you asked. But please, by all means, please go back and look at the previous video so that way you'll get more information of what I've been sharing, okay? So with that being said, guys, we're getting towards the end, and I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go, and I will see you back on here again on Tuesday, sharing some great information with you. And I just want to leave you with this thought: you are not what you experience. You are a champion, and you are in a better place than you ever thought you would be by working on getting yourself together. I would love to be able to help you and help you move through this process. And I just want to tell you that God loves you as well. And so don't feel ashamed by anything that you've experienced. You know, like I said before, what happened to you, your experience that you experienced, that does not define you and it does not defeat you. Okay. So I want you to remember those things. And with that being said, guys, you have a great night. Thanks for joining in. I'll be back on again on Tuesday, next Tuesday at 6:30 as well. So thank you guys for joining in. Have a great night. And as I mentioned, if you are not a subscriber, please help me build my channel up. Okay, I have some great content. Please become a subscriber. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. And with that being said, have a great night, guys. Bye-bye.